Tan Hut! At ease, everyone, and welcome to another edition of History in a Nutshell. This user-requested episode is going to explore a much more recent historical event, the Persian Gulf War. The Persian Gulf War, which includes Operations Desert Shield, Desert Storm, and Desert Saber, was the last major conflict of the 20th century. A coalition of around 35 countries participated in this war against dictator Saddam Hussein of Iraq. Iraq invaded its next-door neighbor Kuwait in August 1990, and the Allied coalition was formed with the goal of expelling Saddam Hussein's military forces from Kuwait. Did you know that the Persian Gulf War was nicknamed the Video Game War? This was due to the Persian Gulf War being the first conflict in history to have live news broadcasts from coalition equipment on the front lines, transmitting a live feed straight into people's televisions. Seeing heads-up displays, or HUDs, from coalition tanks and aircraft greatly resembled those seen in video games. So why did Saddam Hussein invade Kuwait to begin with? And why was the formation of a coalition necessary to drive Saddam out? In order to answer those questions, let us rewind back to the year 1980. One of the root causes of Saddam's invasion of Kuwait was due to unresolved issues from the Iran-Iraq War. The Iran-Iraq War was a bloody conflict which lasted 8 years. Iran and Iraq had, more or less, always viewed each other as enemies, and that conflict was a political one, as well as religious. In 1979, the pro-Western Shah of Iran was overthrown, and the Shiite Muslim leader named Ayatollah Khomeini rose to power, establishing a new government based on Islamic law. Khomeini encouraged Shiite Muslims in other countries in the Persian Gulf to rise up against their leaders, who were Sunni Muslims. While the majority of Muslims in these Middle Eastern countries are Shiite, the Sunni minority held political power, Saddam Hussein himself being one of these Sunni leaders. Khomeini's rhetoric was viewed as a threat to the surrounding Sunni governments, and Saddam Hussein invaded Iran in September 1980 with the goal of stopping the spread of a Shiite revolution in other countries. After 8 years of brutal fighting, there was no clear victor, with an estimated 500,000 casualties on both sides. While the Iraqis had better trained troops and more modern equipment, Iran had more soldiers available. A UN-sanctioned ceasefire in August 1988 ended that conflict. Funding a war is indeed expensive, and Iraq racked up a massive debt during the Iran-Iraq War. Iraq borrowed billions of dollars from the United States, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and other Arab nations. Kuwait was one of Iraq's largest creditors, with Iraq owing around $14 billion to that country alone. Iraq did not have enough money to pay off its debts and rebuild its infrastructure. Iraq desperately needed more money, and one of the ways the Iraqi government sought to do that was by selling more oil. It's important to note that Iraq was one of the founding members of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, or OPEC. OPEC is an oligopoly in the oil industry, and they work together to control oil production and prices, which affects the worldwide energy supply market. Each OPEC member agreed to a quota or limit on the oil it would produce each year. In the 1980s, new sources of oil had been found, causing an oil glut, or an oversupply, resulting in the driving down of oil prices. With Kuwait and Saudi Arabia exceeding their oil production quotas, this did not help Iraq's financial situation. Iraq asked to have its quota raised, and for other OPEC members to stop going over their set quotas. Despite Iraq's demands, Kuwait and other OPEC countries continued exceeding their quotas. At a meeting of Arab leaders in Jordan in February 1990, Saddam argued that Iraq's creditors should forgive the debts for stopping the spread of the Shiite revolution, but Iraq's creditors still wanted their money back. Saddam accused Kuwait of conspiring with the United States and openly threatened the Emir of Kuwait to forgive $10 billion of Iraq's debt, or else Kuwait would be invaded. Saddam had other reasons to justify his threats against Kuwait. At a July 16 OPEC meeting, Saddam accused Kuwait of illegally siphoning oil from Iraq's side of the border of the Rumaila oil field during the Iran-Iraq War by using a technique called cross-border slant drilling, and that Iraq should be compensated. Iraq also did not recognize Kuwait's sovereignty. According to the Iraqis, Kuwait rightfully belonged to Iraq, and Kuwait's border was carved out by Western colonialists. It did not matter to Saddam that Kuwait was already an internationally recognized country before Iraq. Iraq itself was not internationally recognized until a League of Nations mandate after World War I.